Hello, fellow flamenco enthusiasts, and Feliz Dia Nacional! Happy National Day of Spain! I am your host, La Jugo, and this is really, I've counted, episode 23 of Everything Flamenco. So, today we're not really going to talk much about flamenco, more about Spain in general, as today is actually the National Day of Spain, 12 October. It commemorates the discovery of the Americas by Cristobal Colon, or better known as Christopher Columbus, in 1492. It also used to be known as Dia de la Hispanidad, but that has since changed. So in 1492, Christopher Columbus landed in the Caribbean, marking the beginning of Spanish exploration and colonization in the Americas. So it is actually a bit of a funny story because he was actually looking for India and then he ended up in the Americas. But anyway, um, he completed 4 Spanish-based voyages across the Atlantic Ocean, and it was sponsored by the Catholic monarchs. And in 1918, the 12th of October was declared a national holiday in Spain by King Alfonso the 12th. Which means obviously it's a public holiday, so all schools and businesses, almost businesses, are closed, so people get time off to celebrate the day. And then also they oftentimes give free access to museums and things like that. So um, which is interesting. And then in 1987, for example, they actually changed the name from Dia de la Hispanidad to Dia de la Fiesta Nacional de España to emphasize national unity. And all over the world, with the Hispanic or Spanish speaking communities, they actually changed the name of the day to suit their way of celebrating a bit better. And in 2010, the United Nations actually declared October 12th a day honoring the Spanish language, but that was later changed to 23 April. So another interesting fact about Christopher Columbus was that he is actually not a Spaniard. He was an Italian explorer, but he explored the Americas under the flag of Spain. So that is also why Spain celebrates that day, even though Christopher Columbus is not Spanish. I'm not going into too much detail on Christopher Columbus. I really want to more focus on Spain and the Spanish heritage because it's quite a controversial topic. I did some research on Christopher Columbus, and yeah, there's a lot of things about, his exploration, whether he really was the first person who explored or found the Americas, everything that happened after he found the Americas, things that have not been good for communities and things like that. But let's not go down that rabbit hole. So in Spain itself, the biggest celebration on the National Day of Spain is held in Madrid. So it's apparently very lively and buzzing with energy and excitement for the day. The whole city is decorated with Spanish flags and hundreds of thousands of people flocking to the city center. As I said before, it is a public holiday, so obviously people have the day available to go and attend celebrations all over the country, but also specifically in Madrid. So in Spain, specifically, the country and its heritage is celebrated, and it's a really patriotic day. So, the biggest celebration is the military parade that is held along the Paseo del Prado, Cibeles, Paseo del Castellana, and up to Plaza Colon. So, as I've said before, Christopher Columbus's Spanish name is Cristobal Colon. So they go to the Plaza Colon, and people gather there to watch the patriotic procession that's hosted by the government and the military of Spain, and to maybe even see the king and lots of Spanish celebrities in sport and entertainment and television who also gather there to celebrate the day. And the military procession is a massive event. So they have the impressive presence of the Spanish armed forces and a large display of Spanish flags and uniforms. And everybody gathers there to watch the procession. And people like to dress up in their traditional Spanish clothing. It's all very festive. And they'll also arrange parties in their neighborhoods where they will share food and music. Like fantastic food in Spain, like the tapas, for example, which is most well known probably to us non-Spanish people. We have tortilla española, and they also have pinchos, which is also like tapas, but it's oftentimes on a little stick, so you can have it with your hand. You don't need a fork necessarily to eat it. Obviously, also make big paella pans of paella, and they will have churros, which is that donut-like long confectionery, if you can call it that, dessert that you dip in hot chocolate. And they'll have gazpacho, which is your cold soup, which is obviously also fantastic in the summertime, especially in Spain where it can get really hot. And bocadillos stuffed with jamon. So bocadillos are like sandwiches, similar to a baguette, and they stuff it with jamon, which is the Spanish ham. And so obviously also things that they can eat standing up, maybe watching the military parade. And lots of traditions are celebrated, and the typical foods, and it plays an important role in these celebrations and bringing people together to share the joy and national pride of Spain. Of course, the Spanish also love their music and socializing, so I am sure there's flamenco in the mix somewhere. So this is a flamenco podcast, so obviously I have to mention flamenco in some shape or form, even though this episode isn't totally dedicated to flamenco. So they celebrate with folk, classical, and modern music concerts, and I'm sure there will be a few flamenco dancers in there also. So, like I mentioned just lightly before, the National Day of Spain is celebrated in other countries as well, several countries in Europe as well as other countries around the world, most likely the Latin Americas also, where the Hispanic culture is quite strong. But like I said, over time, the meaning of the day has probably changed for many countries because of controversies and things like that, where they don't necessarily celebrate the discovery of the Americas, but the independence from Spain, the unity in their country, in their Hispanic identity. And that's also why they might have changed the name of the day within a country, depending on what it is that they would like to celebrate for their culture. And in South Africa, there's also a Spanish community. I'm not sure if there is a lot of celebrations necessarily for the National Day of Spain. I know that we do celebrate the National Day of Flamenco. But, so I remember in the past the Spanish consulate had in South Africa, they had celebrations where they will also get together to celebrate the Spanish heritage and the Spanish people that settled in South Africa to build a life for themselves, where they will also have gatherings maybe to eat traditional foods and music. And we also a long time ago once, we performed flamenco at a show for the consulate. So I do hope that people will celebrate the day, even if it's just having some tapas and listening to some flamenco music, because that is something that makes me really happy. So I think it will hopefully make you happy too, and will get you motivated to maybe go out for the day, maybe go to a La Parada or one of those little places to have a tapa and celebrate the Spanish culture and maybe dance a little flamenco. So I'm going to close this episode off with not these little words. Que tengas un día lleno de pasión y alegría, como el corazón de España. May you have a day filled with passion and joy like the heart of Spain. And I will see you in the next episode, hopefully a little longer one. Ole!